Good morning from Florence. We're spending the day exploring this beautiful Renaissance city.
This city is filled with so much art and history, everything from Michelangelo, Galileo, Leonardo, and the Medici. So we gotta get exploring. Let's go.
Welcome to Florence. We're Karin and Jeremy, and we've got one day to see the best of Florence. We're cramming in as many must-see sites and museums as we possibly can, starting off with a visit to the Palazzo Vecchio. Then we head to the San Lorenzo leather market and pick up some fun souvenirs at the Central Market. Our day sightseeing the best of Florence wouldn't be complete without a visit to the Duomo and Uffizi, so we stop by in the afternoon. To get epic views of Florence, we climb to the top of the Duomo and make it just in time for sunset, but we're not done yet. Our final stop of the day takes us to the Accademia to see the statue of David, and we get the place to ourselves. Think you can't see the best of Florence in just one day? Think again. It'll be a whirlwind adventure, but totally worth it. Let's get started.
The Renaissance was the rebirth of culture after the Black Death in the 1300s. It was a time when society was rediscovering art and science, and it started in about 1400 and lasted for around 150 years, and Florence happened to be the center of it all. We are in Piazza della Signoria, the main civic center of Renaissance Florence, and our first stop today takes us to Palazzo Vecchio, the building right behind us. It was the town hall of the Medici family. As you can see, there's a statue of David that stands right outside the Palazzo Vecchio. It used to be the original, but right now that's a replica. The original is currently in the Accademia, but it stood out in public until the 1800s, receiving damage from wind, rain, sun, pigeons, and even a bench. In 1527, a bench was thrown out of the Palazzo Vecchio and hit the statue of David, breaking his left arm off, causing significant damage if you ask me. And they repaired it and kept it out here for centuries until they finally decided that it needed to be protected from the elements and the people. And they put it into the Accademia.
As you step inside the Palazzo Vecchio, you'll be transported back to the golden age of Florence. Decorated with intricate frescoes, the interior courtyard is your first indication that this place is something special. Prepare to be wowed by the sheer scale and opulence of the Salone dei Cinquecento, the Hall of 500. At 13,000 square feet, this is the main hall of the palazzo, and the jaw-dropping space is so vast that it really makes you feel tiny. The walls of this hall are decorated with magnificent frescoes by Giorgio Vasari. Originally known as the Palazzo della Signoria, this was the seat of power for the Florentine Republic's government. Imagine a time when powerful guilds and influential families battled for control, and decisions that shaped the Renaissance were made within these walls. In 1540, Cosimo de' Medici moved his residence here, transforming the space into a true palace. You can explore the apartments of the Medici, where each room is more incredibly decorated than the last.
By the time you get to these last few rooms, everyone's pretty done, so they can sometimes just skip them, but they look like some of the best rooms in the place.
How does it make you feel standing there?
Not great.
You don't like seeing the ground below you?
Nope, not great with heights.
Well, we've been exploring the Palazzo Vecchio for the last hour or so. You really don't need a whole ton of time here. The frescoes are really pretty on the ceilings, but I mean, once you've seen a handful of frescoes, you kind of start getting frescoed out, so you start moving through the rooms a little faster. We lingered because we had a specific entry time to climb the tower of the Palazzo Vecchio. The Palazzo Vecchio seems to be a hidden gem in Florence. There's really not a whole lot of tourists here right now. Like, we were in rooms and we seemed to have them all to ourselves in some instances. And don't sleep on the tower, because seriously, the views from the tower are absolutely incredible. Possibly the best views of the Duomo, aside from being on top of the Duomo. So it is worth it to climb the 223 steps to the top, and that is what we're gonna do right now. So let's go. If stairs aren't your thing and 223 stairs sounds like a lot of work for the view, don't let it deter you. Buy the ticket for the Palazzo Tower and only go to the mezzanine level. You can still get incredible views of the Duomo, just like this.
We made it to the top. Check out the view.
It's pretty incredible. Well, that was a really cool museum to explore. Our top tip is to go early to avoid the crowds. After about 10:30 or 11, tour groups start swarming the place. We were able to just walk up and buy tickets right away without any lines, and we came a little after open because usually there is a line before open. So we let the line dissipate and then we just showed up, no line. Also, you can't have bags in there, nothing bigger than a small purse or day bag. If you have a backpack or something else, they do have a coat room that you can check your bags. Also, this museum is included in the Florence card, so you might be able to save a little bit of money if you add up the number of sites you want to see and decide that it's worth it for you.
We're going to take a little bit of a break from museums and go to the Central Market and see also the San Lorenzo Market. Just around the corner from the Church of San Lorenzo is the San Lorenzo Market, which is an open-air market which sells a lot of leather goods as well as other things. And if you like to haggle, you can test your bargaining skills.
The leather market has everything from affordable belts to fancy jackets, and of course, tons of bags.
Right next to the San Lorenzo Market is the Central Market, a great place to find your food goods like pasta, olive oil, wine, spices. It's also a great place to find lunch. It's also a popular market for locals to come and buy their fresh food. Here at the market, you're going to see parts of the animal you'd never thought you'd see, because they like to use the entire animal, not be wasteful.
The Central Market is a great place to find lunch. There are a lot of vendors on the main level, but there's also a food hall on the second level, which it took us a couple of years to figure that out. If you're in the mood for a meat and cheese plate, we can confirm that the food here is delicious. We've had it on a previous trip to Florence.
In the food hall upstairs, there are a ton of options. Something for everyone, including pizza, fresh-made pasta, cicchetti, arancini. There's even a full bar. It has become pretty trendy, so it is a lot more filled with tourists.
Well, our visit to the Central Market and the San Lorenzo Market seems to be a success. This bag is quite heavy, so we're going to head back to the apartment. And then we'll give you an apartment tour, so let's get going.
Welcome to our Airbnb in Florence. We got a pretty nice place here. To start off, we have a fully equipped kitchen with a pretty nice sized fridge, a dishwasher, you got a nice stovetop here, all the pans and pots you need. And coming into the living space, we have a bookshelf here with a lot of different books you could read if you're here for a longer period of time, including a Rick Steves guide to Italy. And we also have a TV. Over here we have a small table, as well as some nice chairs that are pretty comfortable to sit in. Excuse us, we've already been living here a little bit. Over here we have a nice big queen-size bed, as well as a little bit of closet space with some hangers in case you have some coats. And most importantly, we have air conditioning. Always great to have a break during the middle of the afternoon when it's the hottest. And over here's the bathroom. Got everything you need: toilet, bidet, a sink, very large mirror, shower, and even a laundry washer.
A laundry
Washer. And for our best feature, we have a patio. Let's hope we have better luck with the door than in Lake Blood.
It looks like it's off the track, so you can just slide it. Slide it now.
It's not sliding.
Don't break the door.
Luckily, they left instructions on how to open it. So a pretty large patio, I'd say. Even a little bit of privacy with all the plants, and then a little bit of like wicker over here. We've got like 3 different places to sit here. We got a small little table here with some chairs, a main table right here, and then even a tiny little sitting space over there. Plenty of options. But check out this view.
Wow.
We got the Duomo right in front of us. One of the best features of this building is that it has an elevator. So you don't have to climb the 2 to 6 stories of stairs that you could possibly have to do with full luggage. So overall, I'd say this is a very good Airbnb, and we would definitely recommend it in the future.
We really did some damage at the markets today, so let's show you a little bit about what we got. We got some peachy pasta, handmade artisanal pasta on the line of pasta. We also got 3 more bags of pasta, which seems absurd, but they were having a deal, so like, maybe it's okay. We got a lot of pasta here, 3 for $10. 2 other things from the Central Market that we got are this bruschetta mix. The other thing we got, sun-dried tomatoes, and you can ask them to be vacuum sealed, which makes traveling with them super easy and convenient. And the last thing we got was not from the Central Market, it's from San Lorenzo, and it's not 1, but 2 purses. Ta-da! They're not both for me. One's a gift. And I did haggle for this, got the price down, and if you pay cash, and if you buy multiple items, they will generally give you a little bit of a better deal than if you're only buying one.
The Duomo is Florence's cathedral, and the main body of the church was built in the Middle Ages.
They didn't have the technology at the time to build a dome large enough to complete the roof, so instead they left it unfinished, knowing that eventually someone would be able to figure out how to build a dome and complete the church. The facade of the church looks old, but it's actually neo-Gothic, completed in 1870. It's covered in white, pink, and green marble, and as you can see, it has pointed arches. A quick tip to determine if you're looking at something that might be Gothic versus Renaissance is to check out its arches. If it has pointed arches, it's probably Gothic, and if it has curved arches, it's probably Renaissance.
Giotto designed the bell tower or campanile in the 1300s, and it is 270 feet tall.
Right in front of the Duomo is the Baptistry of San Giovanni, one of the oldest buildings in the city. This is where Florentines have been baptized for centuries, including some of the most famous figures of the Renaissance, from Dante to members of the Medici family. The building dates back to the 11th century, making it older than the Duomo itself. You can't visit the baptistry without marveling at its doors. The doors on the east side of the baptistry are known as the Gates of Paradise, created by Lorenzo Ghiberti. Ghiberti created 10 panels depicting Bible stories, and he used a linear perspective that created a sense of depth and realism that was revolutionary for the time, and really kicked off the period of the High Renaissance. The inside of the baptistry is covered in beautiful mosaics dating back to the 13th and 14th centuries, and stepping inside is like walking into a jewelry box. Well, after about a 20-minute wait in line, we've made it into the Duomo. As far as churches in Florence go, this is not the most ornately decorated church you'll see, but it is one of the most impressive. The interior has ridiculously gorgeous marble floors, and they are original. There are areas that are roped off to protect and preserve the floors, but it's worth it to look down as you're walking in. Also, don't forget to look up. You will see some very interesting things. For example, behind me, there is a 24-hour clock, and the day starts at sunset, and the clock rotates counterclockwise. So that's pretty interesting. We've made our way to the front of the church, and here we have a fantastic view of Brunelleschi's dome, only 300 feet above us, and it's painted with scenes from the Last Judgment. You can see so much detail in the frescoes. It's funny the sort of things you can see up there, so take some time to soak it in. The frescoes were definitely meant to be viewed from down below. The perspective is completely different when you're up above, and we will see that in just a couple hours when we climb the top of the dome.
Pretty amazing.
Filippo Brunelleschi is the architect of the dome of the Duomo. He was able to figure out how to span the hole that was left in the roof of the church. And if you walk around the side of the church, you can find a statue of him staring up at his creation.
After visiting the Duomo, it's time to see another iconic site in Florence, the Uffizi.
The Uffizi has an interesting history. These days it's known as the best museum in the world to admire Italian Renaissance artwork from the medieval period through the High Renaissance. But back in the 1500s, the building had a very different function. In 1560, the Uffizi was commissioned by Cosimo de' Medici to house the administrative and judicial offices of Florence. That's where the name comes from, because Uffizi literally translates to offices. Cosimo's son Francesco decided that the top floor of the building would be the perfect place to display the family's impressive art collection. And in 1769, the Uffizi officially opened its doors to visitors, making it one of the first modern public museums in the world. You'll find masterpiece after masterpiece lining the halls and spacious rooms, from Botticelli's Birth of Venus and Primavera to Leonardo da Vinci's Annunciation, Michelangelo's Holy Family, Piero della Francesca's portraits of the Duke and Duchess of Urbino, and so much more. There's enough here to keep you busy for hours. It's hard to show the scale of these paintings, but they are huge. You can take as many photos as you want, but unfortunately no videos are allowed, so you'll just have to take our word that it's worth a stop on your trip to Florence. We just finished up at the Uffizi.
Yeah, you could spend a real long time there. There's a lot to see.
Absolutely. And we definitely recommend that if you like art history, you should do a guided tour. And if you don't want to spring for a guided tour, you should at least get the Rick Steves guidebook, because he has some self-guided tours, and we've done them and they're very good.
Very informational.
Super informational, absolutely. That place is a bit like a maze.
Yeah.
You can get lost.
They didn't even want you to leave the gift shop.
I know, the gift shop seemed never ending at the end of it. The Uffizi is a world-class museum and definitely a highlight if you're an art lover. Now we're going to take a little break, and then we've got another big thing to cross off our Florence bucket list.
With a lot of steps.
A lot of steps, for sure. We'll see you there.
We made it to our next stop. We're climbing the Duomo.
We're climbing to the top of the Duomo. It's 463 stairs to the top. No elevator.
The climb to the top of the Duomo is a real trek up narrow, winding stairs that seem to never end. But just when you think you can't do any more, you reach the base of the dome and you're treated to an up-close view of the frescoes. Don't get too comfy, there are a lot more stairs to go. The Duomo has an inner dome and an outer dome, and as you walk to the top, you're actually walking between the two domes. Don't miss the unique interlocking brick pattern that was revolutionary at the time. The final stretch is really steep, but when you pop out on top and see that view, you know it was worth it. We made it to the top of the Duomo, just in time for sunset. It's pretty incredible.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. And the breeze is wonderful. Much needed after those 463 steps to the top. We're gonna enjoy it now.
They had small feet back in the day.
They really did.
We made it!
The cool thing about the Duomo is that it's It's a dome within a dome, and we are between the two right now. Right here.
It's a lot easier going down the dome. We made it to the bottom.
Finally.
Yeah.
It was a long trek up and a long trek down.
Oh yeah.
And my legs are like jello right now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Besides the view at the top, one nice thing is you can see a real close-up view of the frescoes at the ceiling.
You have to account for the fact that the surface the frescoes are painted on is curved. When you think about how much calculating needed to go in to create that perspective, it's truly a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Just incredible. We've climbed to the top of the Duomo before, but we've never done it at sunset.
Yeah.
And I was hesitant about doing that because, I mean, if you do it first thing, you have the most energy and pretty cool time of day to do it,
Yeah.
like temperature-wise.
Right.
So I was worried that it was going to be too hot and we wouldn't have enough energy. I mean, I was a little right to be
Yeah,
hesitant.
it was difficult, that's for sure.
Yeah, it started out pretty warm when we were going up.
But I would definitely recommend going up at sunset. It is a perfect time.
It was incredible. This was a beautiful place to have sunset.
They were kind of rushing us off though because it was closing time as well.
You definitely don't want to walk down those stairs in the dark, so they do have to get you off pretty quickly. So it's kind of a rush to the top so that you could have the most time up there.
Yeah.
But it is so worth it. Those views are incredible. I'm so glad we did that.
Yep.
We're not done with our adventures yet. We still have a little more exploring to do in Florence, so let's get going. We made it to our last activity of the night.
We're at the Accademia.
Yay!
And it's 9:30 at night.
It's super late, but this museum stays open late on Tuesdays, and we didn't have a ticket in advance, but we do recommend you buy one in advance so that you can guarantee your entry. We lucked out because it's so late, there was no wait at all. We just walked right in, and we bought tickets at the entrance. Aside from the famous statue of David that's here, there's also incredible paintings and other statues that you should check out, including additional statues sculpted by Michelangelo. These statues that line the halls are referred to as the prisoners, and you can see that they're unfinished, but in Michelangelo's eyes, that's not the case. His philosophy about sculpting was that the image already exists in the stone, and he's just releasing it. And so to him, these were already finished pieces. This is as far as it went for him. He was satisfied. Or at least that's one theory. But that's not really why we came to the Accademia, is it? It's the statue of David. The statue of David is really impressive, but there are a couple of small things I wanted to point out. Okay, maybe not so small. First of all, notice his toes. They're pretty damaged, and that's because the statue was out in the elements for several hundred years. And marble is a soft rock, so of course there's going to be wear and tear, especially from all those pigeons pecking at his toes. Second, notice his right hand. It is much bigger than his left hand because it's supposed to be the hand of God. The story goes that he used stones to slay the giant Goliath, and he used the power of God to do so. And then lastly, see if you can notice any imperfections on his left arm, where it was broken in 1527 when a bench landed on it from the Palazzo Vecchio. Pretty interesting stuff. That was such an incredible experience.
Yeah, especially at this time of day.
I mean, obviously going to see the statue of David is incredible in and of itself, but the timing couldn't have been more perfect. We highly recommend coming at close so that you can have it almost to yourself. There were plenty of people there, but it really started clearing out about 20 minutes before close.
Yeah.
We had a great time, and we ended with the place pretty much to ourselves, which was unbelievable. What a great end to our day in Florence. And we'll see you in the next one.
Ready?
Yep.
Good morning from Florence. We're spending the day. Good morning from Florence.
Don't put my head too far on the side. It needs to be mostly centered.
It's in the middle.
Okay. How does that make you feel standing there?
Say that again. These stairs seem a little dangerous.
As far as churches go, there are areas that are fenced off gated off. Is it fenced is okay? Also, don't forget to look up because you will see
We made it down to the bottom.
But you have to account for the fact that the roof, so that you can
Guarantee your stay.
and guess what's at the Galleria?